Let's learn how to interpret any given bar graph or bar diagram. This is a bar graph which shows us the information of traffic at any given traffic signal. On the horizontal line, we have time intervals. The time intervals start from between 4 to 5 am, then 5 to 6 am, then 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, and 10 to 11 am. So these are the time intervals that have been plotted on the horizontal line. On the vertical line, we have number of vehicles starting from 100, then 200, then all the way up to 800. So these are the numbers that are representing number of vehicles. So overall, at a traffic signal, we have certain traffic, and for each intervals we have certain bar graph, and then we have to tell these answers of these questions. The first one is tell the scale. If this is a graph and if this is a plot on the vertical line, these are the numbers, then can you tell the scale? Now you know that the scale is what is actually the unit length, right, on the vertical line or the horizontal line. So in this case, these are the values of the vehicles and we have to tell the scale. So if you can see here, we start from 0, that is at this point. After 0 we have 100, then 200, then 300, and 400. Now if you take any two plots of the numbers, any two numbers, the initial number and then the next number, the difference between the two numbers is what? Is always 100. 200 minus 100 is what? 100. 300 minus 200 is what? 100. 400 minus 300 is what? 100. Therefore each unit length is of what? 100 vehicles. Because why? These are the number of vehicles. So each unit length, that is a scale, is of 100 vehicles. So this is our scale. Now the first question is time interval having minimum traffic. Which time interval has the minimum traffic at that given traffic signal? If you look at the height of each bars, you can clearly see that this bar, that is between 10 to 11 am, between this time interval, has the lowest height, and you can see that this is at the level of 100. It comes against the number of the height of this bar comes against the number 100. So 100 vehicles is the traffic at between 10 to 11 am. So this is a time interval having the minimum traffic. Then you're being asked about the maximum traffic. Now for the maximum traffic, you have to look at the bar which has the maximum height. In this case, you can clearly see that this bar and this bar, these two bars have the same height and they come against the number 800. So 800 is the maximum traffic, and that is between two time intervals. One is 7 to 8 am and then between 8 to 9 am. So we are done with this. Then what's the traffic? What is the traffic between 4 to 5 am? So 4 to 5 am time interval is this one, and you can clearly see that the traffic at this time interval is what? 200, right? It's 200. Having second maximum traffic. So if this is a bar, these two bars are representing the maximum traffic. Which bar is having the next maximum height? Of course, this one, right? So this is between time interval 9 to 10 am, and you can see that it's at the 600. So 600 vehicles, number of vehicles are 600 in between 9 to 10 am. So having second maximum traffic is the time interval 9 to 10 am. Let's look for this one. This is a bar graph where you have been, you are being shown the population, that is in crores, of some states of any country. A, B, C, D, E are the states of any country, and these numbers represent the population and in crores, right? Not in lakhs, not in thousands, but in crores. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and 80. The population has been plotted on the horizontal line, and on the vertical line we have states. Therefore our bar is horizontally projected. If someone asks you that what's the scale of this graph, then of course we are starting from 0. So 0 to 10, then 10 to 20, then 20 to 30, then 30 to 40. Of course each unit length is of what? 10 crores, because this is 10 crore, this is 20 crore, this is 30 crore. So each unit length is what? 10 crore. that is a scale of our graph. The first question is the lowest population. Which state has the lowest population? So check for the graph which has the lowest height, minimum height, which is extended to a minimum length. Which has the minimum length? This bar has the minimum length, and what's the value? 10 crores. So lowest population is also state C, and the population is 10 crore. Highest population, so which bar has the longest length? This bar has the longest length or the largest length. Which one? State B. What's the population? 80 crore. So we are done with this. Which state has a 60 crore population? So 60 is here. You can clearly see that against the 60 we have what? This bar, that is for the D state. So state D has 60 crore population. States which have 30 crore population, so 30 crore is here, and the A is at this level, and you can see that this is at the same level, has the same length of the bar. So state A and state E are the two states which have 30 crore population. Why? Because the length, which is the length of the bar for this state and for this state, is the same, and both are against this 30 number, that is 30 crore. So we are done with all these questions. So this is the way in which we interpret any graph or any bar graph. After learning how to interpret a bar graph, let's learn how to draw a bar graph. Now, this topic, that is drawing a bar graph, has already been covered when we were discussing about the basics of bar graph. Anyways, I'm going to discuss this topic again. So this is a part 1 of the video series on drawing a bar graph, because I want to discuss one very important point that I have always repeated in my every video on bar graph, and that is to select the unit length, that is a scale of any bar graph, properly, because it's really very important to select the scale or the unit length properly. It has several advantages. So let's say that you have to plot any count or any number on the vertical line. We know that in order to make a bar graph, we should have two lines perpendicularly drawn to each other, and we can draw bar graph even horizontally or vertical. So in my discussion, I'm assuming that all of a bar graphs have to be plotted on the horizontal line, and the count or the number will be on the vertical line. And let's say that on the vertical line we have to plot these numbers, the count, or I'm not focusing on the units, I'm just focusing on the numbers. So let's say if it is something like 2, then it is 6, then 11, then 15, then 20. Okay, so let's say that you have these numbers, and these numbers are supposed to be plotted on, you have decided to plot them on vertical line. And horizontal line, just forget it. My focus is to tell you the importance of the scale or the unit length. So if you look at this, at these numbers, so if this is your two lines of your bar graph, this one and this one. Okay, so if these are the perpendicular lines that on which we'll draw a bar graph, if this is 2, then 6, then 11, then 15, then 20. So what should be your unit length? Should I draw it like this? That is 5, then 10, then 15, then 20, and so on, 25, and so on. Do you think that I should draw it like this? Well, the answer is no. Why? Because if you can see here, we have 2 here, then 6 here, then 11 here. 15 and 20 can be adjusted here, but what about 2, 6, and 11? How you are going to plot that? So in order to avoid any such case where some numbers get left because of the wrong scale or unit length that has been chosen. It's very important to choose, the important scale. So what should be the scale here? Well, the scale should be, it should be 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so on. That is, if this is the 0, then you have 1, then you have 2, then you have 3. Now the scale or the unit length in this case is always what? 1, right? 2 minus 1 is 1, 3 minus 2 is 1, 4 minus 3 is 1. So each unit length has what? Is of what number? It is of one number. I'm not focusing about unit. It can be any meter, centimeter, whatever. Just focus on the numbers. So scale would be of 1 unit length. Each unit length will be of, of 1. So then we can plot 2 here. You can see that 2 can come here, then 6 can come here, then 11 come here, then 15, and then 20, and so on. Okay, let's take another example. Let me remove all this. Control X, Control X. So let's suppose that again we have, I'm just going to draw this line, sorry, two perpendicular lines. Let's suppose we have to plot these numbers. Numbers are like 10 and 15 and 20 and 30 and so on. So in this case, if you look at these numbers, then you can quickly think of the scale as what? Of unit length what? Of 5. So if we think it of as 0, sorry, I'm having my tea along with this video tutorial. So if this is 0, then this is 5, this is 10, this is 15, this is 20, this is 25, this is 30, and so on. So each scale, the scale is of, or the unit length is of what? Of 5. I'm not talking about units here, just the number. So 0, then 5, then 10, then 15, then 20, then 25, then 30. Now 10 can come here, 15 can come here, 20 can come here, and 30 can come here, right? So while in the previous case our scale or the unit length was of 1, in this case the scale or the unit length is of 5. Okay, so this is the importance of scale or the unit length. Let's take one more example. If I have to plot numbers like what can be? It can be, let's say 50, then 150, then 250, then 300, 400, and 550. Okay, if you look at these numbers, and when you are deciding about the scale or the unit length, what should come in your mind? The thing that should come in your mind is that it's actually starting with 50, right? So, and then it's 150, then 250, then 300, then 400, then 550. So there is no way that you can start, your scale can be of 100. If you make your scale of 100, then here it will be 0, then 100, then 200, then 300, then 400, then 500. Then what about 150? What about 150, right? So you can think of then, okay, should I plot it like 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4? No, yeah, it will take a lot and lot. I mean, this vertical line will be, then you won't be able to plot the bar graph. That would be impossible. What about 10, then 20, then 30? That scale should be of 10. So 0, then 10, then 20, then 30, then 40, then 50, then 60. No, 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 no. Again, it will take a lot of time. What about 0, then 20, then 40, then 60, then 80? No, no, no. Yes, we can do what? We can do 50. If 0, then 50 will come here. Then 100 will come here. Then 150 will come here. Then 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500 and 550. Now we can plot these numbers. 50 can come here, 150 will come here, 250 will come here, 300 will come here, then 400 will come here, and 550 will come here, right? So the scale or the unit length in this case is what? Is of 50. 50 minus 0 is 50, 100 minus 50 is 50, 150 minus 100 is what? Again 50. So each scale and unit length is of 50. Let's take some other examples. So if we have to plot these numbers, like this is 100, then 400, then 700, then 900. Okay, in this case, and let's take 100, 1100. So if we have to plot these numbers, what should be our scale? Now you can clearly see that if we make our scale as what? Of 100. So 0, then 100, then 200, then 300, 400, and all the way we can go, right? Like this, and 500, then 600, then 700, then 800, then 900, 1000, 1100. That will be sufficient for our discussion. 100 will come here, 400 will be here, 700 will be here, 900 will be here, and 1100 will be here, right? So the scale or the unit length in this case will be what? The scale and the unit length will be what? Will be of 100. 200 minus 100 is 100, 300 minus 200 is 100, and so on. If we have to plot these numbers, like we have numbers like 500, then 1500, then 2500, and then 3000, and so on, and 4000. Sorry, not 4000. Okay, yeah, 4000. Let's make it 4000. So if we have to plot these numbers, what should be a scale? Now you can see that it's 500, then 1500, then 2500, then 3000, and then 4000. Should we make our scale as of 100? No. It will take, this vertical line will be too long to plot those numbers on that particular vertical line. Then what? Can we make it 500? Yes, of course we can make it 500, and that will be very easy to plot. If it is 0, then 500 will be here, then 1000 will be here, then 1500 will be here, then 2000 will be here, then 2500 will be here, 3000, 3500, 4000, and 4500. Now you can clearly see that 500 is here, 1500 is here, 2500 is here, 3000 is here, and 4000 is here. That's very, very good scale, right? Our scale should be what? The scale should be of 500. Suppose we have to plot these numbers. It's 1000, then it's 3000, then 5000, then 7000. In this case, clearly our scale should be what? You can clearly say that, hey, in this case it should be 1000. Can we make 100? No. In that case, our vertical line will be too long, right? We cannot make it of 100. Can we make of 500? No, we cannot make of 500, because yes, we can make we can make of 500, but again our this vertical line will be too long to plot that, because 500 and 1000 and 1500 and 2000 and 2500 and 3000, there's no need of, right? We don't need any 500, or we don't need any 2500. All these numbers are what? Are the multiples of 1000, right? So our scale should be of 1000. We'll plot here 0, then we'll have 1000 here, then we'll have 2000 here, then 3000 here, then 4000 here, and then 5000, 6000, 7000. So 1000 will be here, 3000 is here, 5000 is here, and 7000 is here. Okay, if we have to draw these numbers, if we have to draw numbers like what? If it is, let's say 100, then we have, or let me take like this. If we have 500 and then 1000, but now we have 1100, 1300. What you will do in such case? If you have, suppose you have to plot this number, in that case you can clearly see that it's 500, then we have 1000. Can we take our scale as 500? No. In that scenario, 1100 and 1300 will be left. And if we make 1000, then 500 will be left. Again, these two numbers will be left. So what should we do? Take our scale as of 100. Make your scale of 100. So if you make our scale of 100, then 0 is here, then 100, then 200, then 300, and all the way up to, we can make, like in this case it's 1300. But let's suppose that 1100 comes here, and 1200, and then 1300. Let's suppose that you have plotted all those numbers here. So after plotting the numbers having scale of 100, we reach up to here. In that case, we can cover 500 also, we can cover 1000 also, we can cover 1100 also, and we can cover 1300 also. So this is about, this was about the importance of selecting your scale in a proper way, right? So in the part 1, we discussed about the importance of choosing or selecting a right scale or unit length. In this part, let's solve one problem. So we have a table here, and this shows the items list, and this is the expenditure for each of these items, and assume that it's you whose expenditure is given here. So for the house rent it's 3000, for food it's 3400, education it's 800, electricity it is 400, and for transport it is 600. So this is your monthly expenditure on these different items. If you have to represent this information using a bar graph, then how will you do this? Now, we know that the first step is always what? We have to select a proper scale. In this case, if you look at these numbers, it is 600, 400, 800, 3400, and 3000. So can we take scale as 100? Yes, we can take scale as 100, but in that case, we'll have to plot a lot of numbers starting from 100 and 200 and 300 and 400, 5, 6, 700, 800, and so on. So you'll have to plot a lot of numbers. So is there any way to reduce that? Yes, you have to choose or select some other scale. What about 200? Can we choose 200? Yes, of course we can choose 200. If we choose 200, then it is 0, then 200, then 400, then 600, then 800, and now From 800 it's 1000, then 1200. Now assume that you have reached to 2800, then will come 3000, and then will come 3400. So it's a perfect scale. Can we take 300? No, we can't take 300, because in that case these numbers will be left, right? So 200 is a good scale. So scale is 200. It's always one of the most important thing is to choose the right scale. Now, if I have to draw the bar graph using the scale of 200, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a bar graph where this items list will be on the horizontal line, and these numbers representing expenditure will be on the vertical line. And after doing this, let's suppose that it looks like something like this. So this is the vertical line, and on the vertical line we have plotted these numbers that are showing expenditure, and on the horizontal line we have the items list. Okay, so let me write here expenditure, and here this is items. Okay, now for house rent, okay, before plotting the bars, it's always important that whenever you plot the numbers, okay, the unit length should be same. In that case, in this case, I have plotted these numbers, or drawn these marks using my rough hand, but not using any scale and all. So it's important that you always choose the scale and in a way that the unit length is always the same for all these intervals. Okay, for this interval should be same as this one, and as this one. And the bars that you will draw should be of the uniform length and spaced very properly, very uniformly. So in the case of house rent it is 3000. In the case of house rent it is 3000. So this is our house rent, and this is here where our height of this bar should be. So this is 3000. Okay, so this is for the month of, for house rent. This is for the house rent. Next one, we have 3400 for food. So for food we have 3400. Here should be the end point of our bar. So let me take a line here. Let me take a line here so that we draw it very accurately, and I'll just remove it. Okay, if you have the scale, then you can do it without drawing any lines and all. I'm just drawing so that my bar is at the correct height, because I have to draw a bar which is at the height of 3400. And always remember that your bars should be of what? Should be of same width, of the uniform width, and uniformly placed. Let me remove for this one. Okay, then for education it is 800. For education it is 800. So for education it is 800. Let me draw, sorry. So for education it's 800. I'm again repeating, I have drawn this line so that I could draw these bars accurately, and you need not to draw this line if you have the scale, right? So this is 800. And then For electricity it's 400. For electricity it is 400. For electricity it is 400. So this is for electricity. And then for transport it is 600. For transport it is 600. I'm sorry, I should have drawn this. I'm sorry. Should have been placed properly. Your bars should be of the same width and should be placed uniformly. And for transport it is 600. So here it goes like this. And I know that I have messed up in writing these items list. It should have been written more properly. I'll just adjust all those things, okay? Just give me a time. So for 600 it is transport. Here what I did is that I paused the video and made some adjustments in writing this items list, because the important thing is that your bars should not be only of the same width or the uniform width, but also they should be placed uniformly. Okay, the distance between the two bars should be proper. So this is very important, and this is the final bar graph. On the horizontal line we have the items list. On the vertical line we have the expenditure list. We have expenditure, and our scale is of 200, and here it is the bar graph. Okay, so this is the way how we draw a bar graph using the information. Even it could be given in the form of a statement or in the form of this table. The most important part is this one, to choosing or selecting your proper scale. And then while drawing, you have to keep in mind that when you are drawing the numbers, then the unit length or the scale should be of the same length, right? And your bars should be uniform.